So we were talking started about the hybrid applications. In hybrid applications, we create the front end in HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, and our and we keep that UI in the native container. So for that we use the Android native container. So what is the native container over here actually? What are the ways we can keep this HTML code into the Android native container? What are the various UI components uh, where we can keep this code? So let's understand actually we had how we were opening the any browser actually, any website. For opening the website, we were using the action underscore view, and then we were creating the starting the intent. So it was opening the default browser or as many browsers which applications which are there into the system. It will ask for which browser to utilize. But if you want the any customized HTML5 or JavaScript code to be viewed within your application, when we are opening the browser, it usually goes out of the applications. And if you want the everything to be enclosed within the applications, then there is a UI component that is called a web view. So wherever we want to include the web view, we will add that into our layout file. Along with that, we may require the internet access for if we want to access the data from the some internet. So if you want to open the same website within our applications, so we can use this web view and we can see the data within the application. So how do we load the web view data into the web view? So there is a method called webview.loadURL. So load URL, it will load the URL from the into the web view. So webview.load URL www. Whatever the website we give. Then if the data is residing within the assets folder, then we create the webviews.load URL, then android underscore asset file.html, or we can keep the data into the resource folder. Within the resource folder, we can create a raw folder and there we can keep our HTML files. So we can load the URL from there. So the second and third, they are the ways to load our local files into the web view. And we want to load any data directly, string data into the HTML. For that, there is a method load data, webview.load data, so that we can load the HTML data directly into our web view. So we see that there are two ways. In one, we are opening the HTML applications, web applications that is outside the our own applications. When we do the action underscore view, so it opens the another applications which is outside the our app. If we want to have the web applications or web data loaded within the app, in that case you will have to use WebView. Usually in WebView, JavaScript is disabled actually. So for enabling the JavaScript, there is a class web settings That's a part of in the web view. Through the web settings, we can enable the JavaScript within the web view. So how we enable the web settings? So for getting the web settings, we get the webview.getSettings. This returns getSettings returns the web settings class, and through the web settings we can enable the set JavaScript enable true. If we enable it, then the web view will be able to run the JavaScript file. Otherwise, JavaScript methods will not be accessible. And if we want to give any particular name to our web view, that we can give it by using the web settings.set user string. So like we have a browser name Internet Explorer, Chrome, and since our web view also is going to work like a browser, so we can give it name. So that name is given using web settings.set user agent string. Okay. There are a couple of customizations which are there into the web view. One is the web view Chrome client, another is the web view client. Web view Chrome client, actually, this class is called when something that might impact a browser UI happens. For instance, progress at step, JavaScript alert, JavaScript prompt. So those things, those methods are handled by the web view web Chrome client. And whenever rendering of the content, like which URL to open, which URL to open within web view, which URL to take outside the web view, so those decisions are taken under the web view client. In web view client also there is a method should override URL loading actually. So this method gets called whenever any URL is loaded within the web view. So through that we will be able to decide which URL we want to open within our web view or which we do not want to open within our web view. So first we are looking on the web view client. If we want to open the anything within our web view, then we will have to use the web view client. So it has a very such as web page begins to load, page has finished loading. When there is error related to page loading or any submission is there, then the web view is called. How do we get the web view client? We usually create the any method, any class that extends the web view client, and then we can override the should override URL loaded, should override URL loading. So you can see this method has two parameters, web view and string URL. Here, see the string URL actually, it is trying to see actually what is the from which host it's coming actually. If this is coming from the particular host, then just a moment actually. Load the any URL within our web view. For loading that, in first we will have to do is the set the web view client as our set our web view as the web view client. So that's done using the we do the find view by ID and then web view dot set web view client new web view client. Okay. And what we do for binding a JavaScript interface actually, if we want to have a Java, how we can interface with the HTML code from the Android code. For that we will have, we that's done using the adding the JavaScript interface within our Android code. So how is that done? Let's see, I'll give you show you an example. There is a class web app interface. Web app interface. So within this class, say we are adding a method show post. So post. Within this application, we are adding a method show toast. So toast dot make text, and we want to call this show toast from the JavaScript. For doing that, for doing that, we will be writing webview.add JavaScript interface, and then new the name of the web application, and then the by what name this will be called. So let me open the application. I think from there I will be able to explain better. And then we are loading in WebView. We are loading our own some Android underscore res slash raw slash Android js.html. This file is kept within the resource folder. Within resource, there is a raw folder. Within raw folder, this is Android js.html. So for accessing this file, this is the syntax: file colon 3 times forward slash Android underscore res forward slash raw slash Android js.html. And then we are doing the web settings dot webview dot get settings and web wbs.set JavaScript enable true. So we are enabling the JavaScript, and after enabling the JavaScript, we are adding the JavaScript interface, new web app interface. This is the class actually, which is going to work as an interface between JavaScript code and Android code. So here we are saying that whatever the interface name of this interface is going to be the Android. So from the JavaScript code, we can call any method which is there in the web app interface, However, any method that needs to be referenced from the JavaScript, that method must be annotated like this @JavaScript interface. So we have show toast, show dialog, yes, and then we have move to next screen. So here we can move to next screen as well. Actually, if we want to move from one screen to another screen, so from the JavaScript also we can say that okay, move to next screen actually. Okay. So this web app interface method has all the methods which we are going to call from the Android, from the JavaScript code. Okay. So and then we will come to the web Chrome client. Web Chrome client, what we are doing. Before that, let me show the code here. Okay. So see, this is the HTML code. This is the HTML code. Okay. So we say make toast. JavaScript made by. So how this gets called? Button show Android toast. So this is the method within the JavaScript show Android toast. Here we are saying Android dot show toast. So to the this we are calling the method which is there in the web app interface. Show Android dialog. Here we are calling Android dot show dialog. So from here we are calling the method which is there in web app interface. Move to screen 2. Android dot move to next screen. Okay. So these methods are getting called. So trigger dialog. This is HTML, and from HTML we are getting the, and then move to next screen. Are you sure you want to live to the next screen? Yes, it will take you the next screen, and then we go to the previous, next. So anything which is there in the JavaScript that can be passed to the Android actually, and how, that you have already seen actually by adding the JavaScript interface. And anything that we want to, if we want to control the web view, for that we will have to create a class that will extend the web view client, and there are various methods that can be overridden. And web Chrome client, actually web Chrome client, this is that this overrides anything that is coming from the client side. So if any alert that comes onto the class, so like if we are from the Android JS, we are doing alert, JS alert JavaScript alert from WebView. So how this alert is handled within the Android, from the alert it is going to call the web Chrome client, and then this post will be shown. So let's see. So this alert is coming. So these are the various couple of classes for doing the web app interface with the native Android app, and this is also for the creating the hybrid applications. These applications are getting as a trend currently. Everyone wants to create that applications as the hybrid applications. Okay.